The Minnesota Timberwolves achieved something this season that they haven't achieved since 2004. They made the playoffs in consecutive seasons. Despite the accomplishment, many fans see the season as a failure or at least a step backwards. This is largely because of the Rudy Gobert trade and the pieces given up for a player who was supposed to be a franchise-altering player. Many fans thought the logical next step was for the Wolves to win a playoff series, but that was not to be, as they were gentlemen swept by the top-seeded Denver Nuggets. Tim Connelly has an interesting offseason ahead of him. Here's what I would do if I were him. The first thing I would do is re-sign Naz Reid. He has proven time and time again that he is a starter-level player. Despite all the money we are currently spending on big men, Naz needs to be a priority in the offseason. Not having Naz in the postseason was a huge loss, and it showed the offense was not the same without him. I know the price will be high, but I believe he is worth it. How do you make room for Naz? I also believe the Wolves need to look into trading Karl-Anthony Towns. He has not shown huge improvement in the last couple years, and it is time to clear the deck and build this team around Anthony Edwards. I don't believe the two big man system that we have will work in today's NBA. Cat's Supermax contract will be an unwanted burden when it comes time to pay Ant, who Connelly said is the guy for this franchise going forward, and for good reason. We've seen when Cat and Rudy are on the court, it clogs up the lane and gives Ant less room to operate. Cat is also prone to shutting down the offense with one-on-one back-down moves. As for who he would get back, I like the idea of a guy like Anthony Simons from Portland. We've seen over the years that he is a killer, and I think he would fit well on this team. Simons and Ant would make a dynamic backcourt alongside Mike Conley. Another guy I could see for Cat is Mikal Bridges. He was the main piece in the trade that brought Kevin Durant to the Suns and had a great run with the Nets. Basically, what I am saying is that the Wolves need to trade Cat and get smaller, free up some cap space, and also maybe return some draft capital, much which was lost in the Rudy trade. What I would do next if I were Tim Connelly would be to cut ties with Jordan McLaughlin. He proved to be unplayable down the stretch and did not show the spark he showed in last year's playoff. I've seen it too many times where McLaughlin, the short king that he is, goes right at a guy like Anthony Davis and tries to make a layup, and it gets swatted into the first row. J-Mac is not good enough to lead the second unit. He's a third or fourth string point guard at best. So to replace J-Mac, maybe the answer is already in-house in Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He was initially a throw-in in the Mike Conley deal, but has showed promise and even cracked the starting lineup in the playoffs. Another option I could see at point guard is bringing back a local kid to Minnesota. And no, I'm not talking about Tyus. In fact, I'm talking about his brother, Trey. For a second-round pick, Trey has put up impressive numbers on a bad Spurs team and could be the perfect change of pace contrast with Mike Conley. I don't think he will be too expensive either, considering he made less than $2 million last year. Obviously, the restricted free agent will be looking for a salary upgrade, but for the right price, I could see him as a valuable piece for this team. Saving money in something like a Cat trade or a cheap signing is going to be important for the Wolves, considering Ant will be going into his fourth and final year of his contract. Unless Connelly wants to infuriate the entire state of Minnesota, a long-term contract needs to be coming for Ant. If I am the Wolves, I also let Jaylen Nowell go. He was hampered by injuries towards the end of the season, and although he showed some promise at the beginning of the year, his inconsistency has hurt the Wolves in several situations this season. Unless the Wolves can sign him for pennies, I let him walk and see what he can get on the open market. To me, Jaylen Nowell is a very poor man's Bones Hyland. I will leave it to Conley to do the rest of the tweaking and make this team primed and ready to go for next season. So to recap, the three major things I would do is re-sign Naz, explore a Cat trade, and solidified our backup point guard position. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and until next time, go Wolves.